Hey Rafael, how is it going?
Hello, Adam. Very happy to be here. Feel honored to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
And Rafael is pronounced correctly.
Yes, Rafael.
Rafael. Okay.
Yeah.
What was your first computer?
Interesting question. My first computer was a Celeron, 800 gigahertz,
Uh-huh.
and there was 64 megas of memory, and there was 10 gigas of storage. So wasn't a very strong computer, but I could do some fun things there.
You had plenty of RAM because my first was Pentium, but I had only, I think, 8 megs of RAM. Then I upgraded to 16, but you already had 64 megs of RAM. But your Celeron, it was less powerful than Pentium, so it is interesting combination with not that good CPU, but plenty of RAM.
Yes, well, now that you mentioned about Pentium, I don't remember if it was a Pentium 2 or a Celeron. I
Because the
think it
Celeron
was.
Celeron was like the cheap alternative of Pentium, right? This was like it has something it was not as good as Pentium, right?
Yeah, it wasn't that good, no.
Okay. What you did with it?
Well, I did many things. So when I got my computer, the
Hmm.
internet era was starting.
Hmm.
And, I was connecting to the internet. I was doing some research. I was, doing teenager things. Um, like I think there wasn't even YouTube when I started using
Hmm.
the internet, but some interesting things that I did there, like I started being curious
Hmm.
about, I used to play a lot of games,
Hmm.
and I was interested in knowing how I would be able to create a game.
Okay.
And then I downloaded a very interesting software called RPG Maker.
RPG Maker.
And
Okay.
RPG Maker, and that was my first contact with programming.
Hmm.
And so there was a very nice UI,
Hmm.
and I was able to create uh, characters, and I was able to create story, and I was doing programming, but I didn't know I was doing programming.
Hmm.
And the programming language behind the scenes for RPG Maker is Visual Basic.
Hmm.
And yeah, when I was programming, doing simple things there, I noticed that there was some very important words for programming, like variables and switch. You know,
Hmm.
for example, when you press a button in somewhere, you would
Hmm.
activate some kind of events. So I was doing that, and I didn't even know that was programming. Like those are very crucial uh, concepts from programming.
Hmm.
One is variable. So basically, with my character, I was counting how many chests my character was opening, and
Hmm.
then I was using a variable, a global variable in the game to count how
Hmm.
many chests my character was opening. And the other thing is that I was using the event concept and didn't even know it was
Hmm.
a programming concept. And other than that, I was even using the for looping because, uh, like when I was programming the whole thing, of course there was a UI helping me out with that. But for example, I was making the characters walk, uh,
Hmm.
and they were using a for looping there or a
Okay.
while looping. Yes, and there was conditions, so there was everything. So I was programming. I didn't even know I was programming. So it was fun.
I took a look. This RPG Maker is still around.
Yes, it's a very mature tool, and you can create mature games with that.
Uh-huh.
You have everything ready for you, and you can have a lot of fun. It's
Still with
amazing.
Visual Basic, you know it right now?
Probably yes, because they created the whole tool in Visual Basic.
So crazy. When was it? 2000?
Well, yeah, 2000, somewhere around that. Yes, it's been a while.
And was your game good?
Well, I was working the game most for myself,
Hmm.
I didn't publish the game or anything, but it was kind of a comedy game. Like I was like using some humor in the game.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. And I was also using some concepts that I enjoyed in other games, like in Pokemon. Like you have to have a specific power to go through an obstacle, and other games like Zelda or all of those well-known games. So
how much time do you spend, programming the game?
A lot of time. I was doing that very often. Like I think, well, I was working in that game for maybe more than 2 years.
Wow. And how many hours per week or per day, or
maybe 3 hours a day or something like that?
Crazy.
I don't remember.
So you were really persistent. So you were actually full into it.
Yes. I did good amount of work with this tool. It took time for me to learn as well, and I was learning programming on that tool, and I didn't even know that I was.
Yeah. These are great. I think this is the best, right? Without learn something without even recognizing that this is actually hard work what you're doing. And I mean global variable. So did you actually hit the limit what you can do because of the complexity? I can imagine it would be really hard to manage the entire thing in one point of time. So there was lots of refactoring going on?
So, well, in this tool, everything was managed to me.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, you have to still know, if you have 100 variables, you will still have to know to have an overview what actually happens in the game. Debugging could be hard.
Yeah. But, yeah, like I wasn't coding exactly. So the game had kind of a friendly UI. And I was manipulating those variables. Like the game had a very smart way to manipulate those variables. And I was also isolating those variables. So the variable for the chess would be only one for the whole game.
Okay.
And this variable would start with the value of 0 in the beginning. And it would be incremented depending on how many chests my character would open. Because then I would allow some events to happen, for example.
And was it like appealing from the graphics, or I mean 2 years? Was it like playable? So did you?
Yes.
Your friends enjoyed the game, or was just you, or?
Yeah, my games. Sorry, my friends enjoyed the game a lot. Mainly because it was, there was.
I can imagine teenager.
There was a lot of humor in the game, and it was kind of it was funny, and people enjoyed to play the game because they would laugh a lot.
Yeah, why you didn't publish the game?
Because I didn't finish it.
Oh.
So I was I was thinking in a huge game. So I had in mind a huge game. And if I was to implement everything I had in mind, it would take much longer than what I expected. So
you will still be not done, right? I suspect.
Probably.
Okay, so why you stopped, or what happened after the game?
So, and that's a good question. I stopped because maybe I had other things to do, and I changed focus, and I didn't finish it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I changed focus.
To what?
Well, at the time, I don't really remember exactly, but maybe it was in the time of my college. I don't remember exactly, but I changed focus. I was doing something else, and I left the game kind of.
Yeah. So then what was your next, programming experience then?
Then I was curious about hacking.
Oh.
Yeah, but I never did anything to harm anyone else. I was doing that only for learning, and I got curious. I was I was thinking, okay, how can I hack someone?
Mhm.
How can that even be possible? And then I started doing some research, and I learned, beginner's technique, like creating a fake page.
Mhm.
And there was a very popular social media in Brazil called Orkut from Google,
Exactly.
but it died.
I forgot about
It died.
that. Yeah.
It,
Uh-huh.
it died already. So there was a simple technique to create a fake page, an Orkut fake page. And I also learned that, like doing this research, that no system is 100% secure.
Yeah.
So that is the first lesson I learned when I was researching about hacking. And I learned that the first hacker in the world he did the hacking with the telephone. So he just used social engineering. And basically what I did, I created this fake page and I used some social engineering and I got some passwords, but I didn't do anything. Of course, I didn't do anything. I was just testing it. Like it was just a PHP script, and I would have to change the email in this script to my email because I would get the password. And then I just had to use some social engineering. And then I would say, okay, can you see my video there? And then I would get the password. But then, like, I didn't do anything with that. But it was a fun experience.
How many passwords have you got back then?
I think I got almost 10 passwords or more.
Okay, so it actually worked well.
It works, yeah. Social engineering works very well. And of course, nowadays there are so many more advanced techniques than that.
But this is somehow boring, right? And my social engineering is just tricks. So what I was interested in hacking is how I can exploit a CPU or whatever, no? But this is really hard. But social engineering, of course, it works, right? If I send you now fake, invitation to my podcast, you will click on it, and I could hack you, of course. But this is no difference than I could trick you, with your money on the street without the computer, right? So this is just not that exciting, I would say.
Exactly. I was researching other tools as well. I don't remember the name
memory
of
overflow, how they do it, and all the stuff is far more interesting. But of course, you spend days is even worse than programming your game, right? I assume after 2 years of research, maybe you achieve something. So, and it's not even funny at the end.
Yeah. So I was also checking other tools like Key Logger and those things, but I didn't go very deep into that. Like it was just okay. I just had some research. And
how you got the
tests.
idea? You saw a movie or what? You saw Matrix or what was the?
I don't really remember. It's been so much time, but I don't know.
So much time. What happened? So I mean, this was not like 1950s, right? So it was like 10 years ago.
Well, it was like 20 years ago, I think. 20,
okay.
15
Maybe.
years.
Okay, so what happened then? So, okay, you after hacking, you had the 10 passwords. What was the next, programming achievement?
Then I learned how to create some simple scripts with Visual Basic. And, it was just opening some, like, how can I say? What's the name again?
Opening
like just a JD option panel. I don't know the name of that in other language.
The dialogue, you mean the
a dialogue? Yes.
Yeah.
It was just opening a dialogue in a for looping. It was something very basic. So before the college, I was doing very basic things. I didn't go deep into any concept, but when I started college, then I started going more deep into programming concepts.
Okay. Yeah, and it started computer science, it seems like, right?
No, I did systems information.
Yeah, similar. I mean, there's no difference, I guess, right?
There is difference because computer science, it's lower level.
Okay.
And systems information is more focused on basically creating systems. You don't learn lower level things like in computer science, like building a compiler or things as such.
The question is, what is more useful? Maybe system information is even more useful because you don't need always the low level stuff. Oh, you have a nice mark. I saw you have a huge Java mark. So the listeners won't see this, but this is the most incredible stuff. How big is it? 2 liters or what?
Thank you. No, it has half a liter.
So Java. So this is the
Java.
So Java. Okay, this is the official mark from Java user group. Okay.
Yes.
Designed by Bruno Souza, I think, right? Souza is his name.
Bruno
right?
Souza. Yes.
Yeah. Great. So okay. So I can imagine Visual Basic. So that is fun. Starting dialogues. I think I remember I did the same, just in a for loop, and it was curious what happens if I start 1,000 of them, for instance.
Yes,
but back then there was not much memory, so the fun was very short. So at least on my computer. So you had 64 megs of RAM. I had just 8, then 16. So for me it was very, very fast. Game over. Okay, and system information. Why you started to study this? So you knew that programming is exciting, or what's the deal?
Yeah, it was a funny story because actually before doing systems information, I was going to do web design. So I was going to do a very different course. And then as it didn't have enough students for this course of web design, there was the opportunity to study systems information instead. And then that's what I done. I started systems information. And it was a very good decision.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I guess so. So and what you enjoyed the most, or was it a language, or in your during your study time?
Well, what I enjoyed the most was programming. So
which languages
of the first
you learned?
So I started first with algorithms. So we were doing we weren't using any specific programming language. And the professor at the time, he was saying, no, you won't use any programming language because you have to learn how to do algorithms before using a programming language. And then that's what we did. We were solving difficult algorithms. And then after that, we were learning Pascal. So my first programming
Pascal
language.
Is nice.
Yeah. First programming language that I learned in a decent way was Pascal. And it was great. I like Pascal. To learn, it's a good programming language.
Well, but I can imagine, learning the algorithm is really dry without the language, at least for me. So for me, it was a lot easier. So I really enjoyed programming, but just the dry algorithms on paper, I didn't appreciate it. So I always wanted to use the computer.
Yeah, we were doing algorithms on paper.
And you enjoyed that?
On paper. I did because, programming behind the scenes is logic.
Cool.
But of course,
you enjoyed.
But of course, I was having much more fun writing the program.
Yeah.
I was having a lot of fun writing an algorithm in Pascal and seeing the output and seeing, the flow of the program. It was so much fun.
It remembers me of UML, Unified Modeling Language, where you have to draw boxes first, and then you are allowed to write some programs. So similar approach, right? Still remember activity diagrams, sequence diagrams.
Oh yeah, we studied those things so much and never used that. Never used that in my career. So, but we studied that so much,
I was supposed to use that. I was supposed to use that, but for me, always if I draw the boxes. And I started coding, I say, I forgot this box, and the abstraction is different because if you code, you are forced to think more about details. So that's the problem with the entire thing. You can draw boxes and bubble don't crash, right? But if you really go into it, then you always think, okay, actually it's different. So it's really hard, I think, to draw the boxes first. So I always drew the boxes afterwards. So try to reverse engineer the program. and then just hide the boxes which don't matter. And by the way, I do this still the same, and then so okay, this is the concepts is enough, and everything else can be deleted. Okay, so what happens after you study?
So, well, actually during my study, because well, in Brazil, basically we are used to study and work at the same time. So it's very common in Brazil to study during the night, during the evening. Yes, you study during the evening and you work the full day. So I started my career in 2010, and
where you study in Brazil? On which university, or where was it?
It was in São Paulo, not a very well-known university. The name of the university was Universidade de Mogi das Cruzes.
Oh, okay, this one.
Oh, yeah.
Are there multiple universities in Sao Paulo?
Oh, yeah, there's so many universities.
Okay,
yeah, so that was the one I did.
Okay.
And yeah, my first programming language that I worked with was PHP.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you this was from your hacking days already. So you enjoyed PHP actually, or you preferred Turbo Pascal or Visual Basic or what?
It was okay. I didn't like very much because you have to code in the middle of the HTML code, and but at the time it was kind of normal to do that.
Yeah, like JSPs, right?
Yeah. So it was okay. I liked it, but not so much.
And what you did, like a banking application or hacking?
No, I started as an intern in a small school close to where I lived in Brazil, and I was just helping in to build a small website for a small school.
Okay.
So that was all. So it was.
But a great job, actually. If you have, it is actually something you can completely achieve, and people will, and it actually worked. So were the students actually happy with your achievements?
Yeah, well, they were. Yeah.
As I know you right now, were there any Easter eggs? funny functionality for these pupils and students?
Funny functionalities.
Yeah,
I don't
because
think I had any.
Yeah, I think we did some like a special button where the student can press and get immediately good notes or something like this, or more vacations, or school is out or close the school or something like this. Nothing.
That would be good. No, I didn't do anything like that. No.
This is now I'm a little bit disappointed. I think if you started as a hacker and now you build a serious apps for students without any humor.
Yeah, well, it was just,
Yeah.
just normal work.
Okay. So what was the next project then?
So the next company I went was, well, I worked a little bit as an IT support.
Okay.
So I was fixing computers and doing those kind of things, but it wasn't really my stuff. What I really liked to do was to do coding. And it was funny because most of the time that I was doing the work as an IT support, I was doing coding. So obviously I wasn't supposed to be there. I was supposed to be coding. And then I left this company and then I went to another interesting company in Brazil called Starsoft. And yeah, they were building ERP software. So there I learned a lot about SQL queries, and I also started doing some work with Visual Fox Pro.
Okay.
So yes, interesting programming language, is kind of an evolution of Clipper.
Yeah.
And I did some work with this programming language. It wasn't very strongly object-oriented, so we were doing a lot of procedural coding there. But still, I was impressed because we were able to create a whole complex ERP software. We weren't using any cloud technology or anything like that. It was just very simple. It was a desktop application. And
Yeah. And I think there's still a future in such a thing, right? So I would say the fat client not everything has to be connected. I would say it can even switch in one point of time because the machines are more and more powerful. You could actually build perfectly reasonable apps without any connectivity, right?
exactly, don't need to necessarily create your software in the cloud.
Yeah.
Desktop could solve the problem. Could be enough.
Yeah. No kidding. Like for instance, Notes app, right? So if you have a Notes app, you can just keep everything locally and just on demand chat with other devices, and the sharing could even happen peer to peer without any cloud involvement, for instance, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah, cool. So Fox Pro is a Clipper were actually very successful in Europe. So lots of applications were built on top of that. So why you quit the company then? Because there was lack of objects, lack of objects, right?
well, yeah, I think that's a good answer. But actually, what I noticed is that at the time, if I was going to continue in that company, my career would be very limited to Visual Fox Pro.
Yeah.
Because that was my own experience. And also in the meantime, I started learning Java in my college. And then I got very interested in Java. And I learned, okay, this programming language is very powerful. I understood that Java was being used in many, many, many companies. And it was strong in the market. Other than that, I also enjoyed a lot the Java programming language.
Why you knew that Java is important and why you started to learn it?
So why? I mainly because I liked the Java programming language. And
yeah, but still, you like Java programming, but you have to start, right? You have to download.
To study.
It. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I started studying Java by myself. So.
But why? You
for my career.
Okay, back then it was already clear that Java is the next thing, right? Or no?
Yes, it was clear to me that Java would be a game changer in my career.
Okay, so I thought this Java was new, but it was new. You say 2010, so it was pretty old already, right? So you started with Java 5 maybe?
Or later? Java 6.
Oh, okay, so this is understood. Because as I started Java, so Java was really new. And this was like, people say, okay, this is the next big thing after C++. And it was not even, it was Oak. So it was a really early preview. So I started with JDK 1.0. It was absolutely not clear to me that it will win, but I really liked that. So this was the question why. But in Java 6 was already clear that Java is actually very popular language, right?
Yes, Java 6 was very popular and it was widely used in Brazil in the companies. Then I said, okay, I know that if I really understand Java, it's going to be a game changer in my career. And then I started buying books and I read the certification book from Kate Sierra. And it was very good learning. And after that, I did...
Patents book, right? There's a patent book from Kate Sierra or certification?
Oh, there was another book called SJCP 6.
Sun Certified Java Programmer or something like this, right?
Yes.
This is the hardest certification, I think. Okay, but KCR is like patents head first or something like this, right? Head first patents.
Yes.
This was the...
There was the head first as well, but I preferred this other book. And then I started also doing courses outside of my college. And I learned a lot about Java and the frameworks and Java EE. So I was mainly studying those concepts.
Okay. And you had a project aside, or it was just theory for you?
So it was mainly theory. I had just some toy projects, which I don't remember exactly what they were doing. But yeah, I had some, just some test projects just to see how, for example, JSF would work or dependency injection would work, like those simple things.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, and then what happened then? So you became a master of Java and Java, right? With and you switched the companies, or what was the next thing? So I'm already curious.
yeah, so after I got more prepared with Java and I knew some fundamentals of the Java programming language, then I went to look for a job, specifically with Java. And then I found a job, and in this first experience was a bit difficult because basically they were hiring trainees,
Okay.
trainee developer, and they were trying to push those trainee developers almost like as an intermediate developer.
Okay.
Sometimes even a senior. Like so, they were demanding a lot from you, and the interview was very hard. Like they were asking lots of concepts from Java in their test, and they made difficult questions as well in the interview. But fortunately, I passed in this interview. It was my first experience, but it was very difficult. And but it was good because at least I got some experience with Java specifically.
Yeah, and what projects you were involved in? So it's like a Mission Impossible or what?
No, it wasn't Mission Impossible. It was well, it was not so difficult system. Like it was basically a system to sell books,
Okay,
digital books.
like Amazon. So you built Amazon basically, right?
I wish, yeah.
So no, so
Yeah.
we only have to build, Amazon after. Okay.
Yeah, it was much simpler than Amazon, and we were using JBoss Scene. Like,
Okay.
yeah, it was an interesting framework because it was creating the whole system for us. So basically, we were creating the database model, and then from the database model, JBoss Scene would create the whole system. It would create, the UI, the backend, everything. But the code was horrible, almost unmaintainable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so
you use generator for that or what?
yeah, we were like when I started in that company, they were doing that, and I didn't have much experience, so
No problem. So it means your company created a generator, right?
they were using JBoss Scene generator.
I didn't know that because I also used or had to use back then Seam, but without code generation. So we built, by hand the Seam UI, and the Seam 2 was a bit proprietary. It was the beginning of CDI. Yeah, beginning of CDI. There was injection, outjection, and bijection. I even remember. And then Seam 3 happened, and Seam 3 was like CDI on steroids. This was the idea then. I assumed it was Seam 1 or Seam 2. What you did?
Yeah, I don't remember the version, but I know it was generating the whole code. It was generating everything. Yeah.
So and what you did, you
Java
just push and you push the button basically, right? Generate the code, and you watch what happened, and say, okay, now vacations.
Kind of. So basically, 4 trainees were hired to build this system. So it was myself and more 3 developers. And the problem was that the business requirements were in the head of the manager. We didn't have documentation.
Okay.
And the manager wasn't very good with people. So it was, very hard. Like, he was difficult manager.
He didn't like to speak. This would be the best combination, He had all the business rules in head, but didn't like to speak. And now you had, to create the application just with code generation. This would be Mission Impossible, actually, right?
Exactly. That's why it was so hard, because we were only 4 trainees. We didn't have any senior developer in our team. So
this is
how could 4 trainees create a new system, and even without knowing the business requirements or even knowing deeply those frameworks? So the management there was just.
But were you able at least to display a book somehow with add to shopping cart or something?
Yes, we were able to do. We were able to do that. Remember, we were even putting those books images in the cloud, and like I had a interesting experience by doing that with the buckets in AWS.
S3.
So S3, Amazon S3. So
for that time with Seam, it was actually not bad. When was it? 2015 or what?
2012.
This was really early, because maybe the bucket started 2006 or 7. I think this was like early cloud days. And the S3 buckets was your idea or manager's idea or?
Manager's idea. He was talking about load balancer and all of those concepts.
He's an interesting manager that he knows about load balancer and buckets and.
Wow. I don't think so, but I think he got the idea from the client. The client was amazed with cloud technologies, and the client told him it wasn't his idea.
The manager was of your company manager, right? This was from your company, the manager. I thought you were sold to a client, and client had a manager. Oh, this is from your company. Then I can really imagine what happens. He was like, he felt like an architect, right? Like the guru.
Yeah, and he wasn't technical.
Yeah,
he wasn't.
This is the best combination ever.
My God.
This reminds me of a project. I was earlier than yours. So my manager, it was actually the architect. You know JSF, right? So
I worked a lot with JSF.
He wanted from us that for performance reasons we always have to precompile JSF. And I said, what are you talking about? Why? I mean, this is even impossible. How we can precompile JSF? And he wrote papers how to do it, but he confused JSF with JSPs. And I couldn't explain you the difference. And I know JSPs, but let's precompile JSF. So okay. And then ask me one day, did you precompile JSF? I was like, always, twice a day. So this was crazy. So there are lots of such stories,
Exactly.
You said Starsoft, right? Starsoft. You mentioned company Starsoft.
Starsoft, yes.
Yes, I already mentioned this on the podcast, but just for you, I also worked for an interesting manager. And there was Star Portal. And as I remember, the Star Portal came from Sun Microsystems as an early portal technology. And there were integration points. And he wanted that we integrate with the Star Portal. But he couldn't pronounce it, or he pronounced it somehow interestingly. And what I understood was Star Bottle. And I say, what the hell is Star Bottle, right? So what is Star Bottle? And I asked him, no, wait a sec. No, it was not. He was supposed to write Star Portal. He was gathering the requirements, and he misunderstood this. And he told me Star Bottle. This was. And I said, Star Bottle, are you sure? It's like, yeah, we have to integrate with Star Bottle. And I said, what is it? Yeah, you don't know what Star Bottle is? It's like, no, but you have to integrate. So I say, Bottle? Maybe it's Genie, Java Intelligent Network Infrastructure, because it's always the Genie, like, that goes in the bottle. And I say, is it Genie? I say, yeah, it's probably Genie. So, okay. And then it turned out it was not Genie at all. It was a portal called Star Portal. But he misunderstood us. This was his fault. But because if you would told me, I would ask questions. But he was very, confident it has to be Star Portal. And we were supposed to integrate with Star Portal. So this was my story. So I also spent time in crazy companies, not just you, So this is like millions of such stories.
Yeah, it's not good to work with managers who are not technical. It's very difficult, actually.
It is actually. It is no problem if they are not technical, and they don't have to be technical. But what should not happen that they are not technical and they think they are very technical. This is the problem, because sometimes you don't recognize that they don't know what they are talking about, and if you believe them and don't question. For instance, in one project, I still remember, Swing still, right? Swing. You did some Swing work? Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Manager told us we have to build an Excel table. And I say, okay, this is crazy amount of work. And so, yeah, we have to do that. So we research, and then I said, this is impossible. And then I asked not the manager, rather the client, what do you need? And this was a table, just a table. So the Excel table was like, he didn't know better and explained us we need Excel. But the difference between Excel and just a table is a huge difference. So we stopped all the evaluations. I remember Formula One or something. It was a table, smart tables in Java, whatever, and we just delivered us very straight swing table, very simple one, and everyone was happy. And we told the manager this is of course an Excel table, and he was also happy, and the client was happy, and everyone was happy. So the first question was really interests me: how long you spent at the company?
Not so much time.
I thought it was longer. This was fun.
No, because the project was cancelled and many people were let go after that. So most of the team that I was in were let go. So I stayed there for, I don't know, it was 6 months.
Okay, not that bad. So what was the next project? Was after this experience, you still like Java, or say, okay, this is just crazy stuff happening here?
No, I liked Java, yeah, for sure. I love Java, yeah. And no, I knew that was a specific situation, and and I was still very interested in Java. And then I went to a company called CAS, and they were building a system for it was an electricity system, basically.
Oh, okay. Power grid.
Yeah, so yes, exactly. Power grid, yeah. So it was an interesting experience there. We were, we weren't using frameworks from the market. We were using instead internal frameworks.
Okay.
And yes, we were using EXT actually. EXT, like, it was kind of a JavaScript framework to build the UI. But the thing is that we were encapsulating EXT in Java code.
Oh, XJS.
I think that's the name.
Okay.
EXTS, yes.
EXTJS, and it was
yes.
And it was proprietary license. It was open source first, and then became proprietary, right?
I think so. I'm not sure.
I think Sencha is the company. No,
I don't know.
Was it the Ant?
I never liked it.
Was it the Ant build involved? So you have to build with Ant the entire stuff.
We were using Ant, yes.
Yeah, I think it was the time. Okay, some of my clients still
using Ant. Yes, like I hate
interesting.
Ant,
but wait a sec. In 2003 to maybe 2006, I spent time in a company, also Power Grid, and they also built everything, internally. And I had a chat with them, and there was actually a reasonable strategy, because what they believed in is that if they build, let's say, a database from scratch and something, that then they have complete influence about the bugs, and about they can completely control the software. And they had a kind of NoSQL database written in C, and it actually worked. It worked for years. So it was really impressive. And the entire strategy of the company is we only use, because of Power Grid, for power plants. I mean, for the energy, right, sector. So if we can build everything from scratch, we can control it. And then we introduced Whitefly. So I introduced actually JBoss. There was no Whitefly back then, just JBoss. So in the strategy, there was, okay, JBoss is huge. They cannot just, understand everything. So, but I think one developer did nothing else than understanding Whitefly. He was in charge, of Whitefly patches, and he was really into it, for instance. So it's not that uncommon. Then it's such, energy sector companies just would like, to control the software completely from, top to bottom.
Yeah, well, maybe that was the reason they were doing that. But they had internal frameworks for everything. So, and they were encapsulating this EXT.js code in Java code. So we were creating the UI in Java code. And most of the UI code, there was like more than 1,000 lines to create a simple UI.
This is your next second project, how Vardin happened, right? So this is how you created the Vardin framework.
I wish.
It's a second project, and you change, the world twice. Amazon was the first, and now Vardin happened, right?
Yeah. So we were encapsulating this EXT.js code in Java, And also for doing the database manipulation, we were using also internal framework,
Of course.
which wasn't as good as Hibernate. Hibernate was much better, and we were like every developer was just saying the same thing, like why don't we use Hibernate? And it was funny because if you said the name of any framework from the market in that company, like people would know, they would hate you, which was interesting, was weird. Like they were very against the market frameworks and tools. So so it was an interesting experience. Had some fun there, but then I went to another company.
How much time you spent at the company?
1 year.
Okay, better. So it was not twice as good as the previous one, right?
Yes. And then the other company was more interesting because then we were working with more experienced developers. We were working in a more mature project. It was a financial project. We were using entirely Java EE.
Okay.
We were using GSF, EJB, CDI, and we were also using Eclipse Link.
Okay.
For database manipulation.
Then I assume we use Payaro, right? Or Glassfish?
We were using using Oracle.
Okay. Also works with Eclipse Link or Oracle Application Server.
Yes, it was this one. It was taking like I remember that to start an application it would take something around 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was taking a long time. And any change we were doing the application, we would have to wait for that time. So,
but Brazilian coffee is great. So this was always opportunity to get a coffee, right?
Exactly. It wasn't that good in the company. Like the coffee machine wasn't that good, but you could get some coffee maybe outside. But yeah, sometimes we used to do that. Like when
to get a coffee outside, it started too fast. You had to add some sleep time. But because it would start in 15 minutes, then you have a chance to pick a coffee from outside. 5 minutes is not enough.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is why Quarkus developers are that healthy. They have no time to drink coffee.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Quarkus is just so fast. Wow. Yeah. Technology evolved so much.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. How much time you spend at this company?
Almost 3 years. In this company, I spent a good amount of time. Yeah. It was.
We are talking now about 2016 or something.
I started in this company in 2013 or 14.
Yeah, you see, 16, 17. Yeah, so it's almost almost these days. And so you enjoy Java EE? And
oh yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that you are a Java EE guy. So I thought you were more Java SE. I had no idea that you did a Java EE actually.
Oh yeah, I did a lot of Java EE.
And why you enjoy the Java EE experience?
Because it's very robust. It has everything you need for an enterprise project. And I learned a lot about design patterns, about how to create good code, how to use single responsibility principle, how to not couple your code, how to separate the business layer to the UI layer, and you were able to create good software there. Like there was a good team. There was people.
And were your code lean or thin or more bloated, like lots of layers and mappers, or more like to the point, pragmatic code?
So we kind of had a pragmatic way to do our coding. So we had the UI layer from GSF, and then the JSF would communicate to the resources, to the resource layer, and then from the resource layer would communicate to the service, and then from the service to the repository or DAO. We were calling DAO at the time. So we had 4 layers.
Resource means the JSF communicated remotely with JAX-RS?
Yes.
Okay.
We were creating EJB services.
Okay.
Yes.
unusual for the time. I thought back then there was already JAX-RS. I assumed you used JAX-RS. And EJB remote services, you use basically RMI.
RMI, yes. We
Okay.
were using RMI, and we were also doing some SOAP services sometimes. We
Okay.
were consuming those web services.
Okay.
So it was interesting, and I had a very good view of what is a real software by working in this project.
And why you quit the company, or what was the next so both? Why you quit the company, and what was your next project?
Because I had my goal since 2010. I had the goal of coming to Europe. So
okay.
I decided, okay, I will stay in this company. I will become a senior software engineer, and then that's what I did. I became senior software engineer there, and then I came to Ireland, and then I got a job here.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was a good journey to get a job in Europe, and
you stay now in the same position, the same job from then. So since 2017.
No, it changed when I came here. So I had to leave the company in 2017. So I left the company because I was coming to Ireland, and then I studied English here for 4 months.
Okay.
To improve my fluency, because at the time I think I just had advanced level of English, but I wasn't fluent. I was still struggling to talk fluently. But then with these 4 months course here I had in Dublin, it helped me a lot on my English skills. And that was my plan, actually. I was going to have 4 months of English course, and then I was going to get a job here as a software engineer.
Okay.
And what helped me a lot to get a job here was that I started sharing my knowledge, and I started gaining some visibility.
Okay.
And of course, being involved in Java user groups, that also helped me a lot.
Okay. So you were at the Dublin Java user group, right?
Yeah, so it was interesting because right before I come to Dublin, the Java user group leader from Dublin sent an email to all Java user groups, I think. And then the Soul Java JUG, so basically they told me that, hey, Rafael, the JUG leader from Dublin is asking for some help. Maybe you can give some help. Maybe you can give a lightning talk or something like that. And then I started talking to the JUG leader. And then, I started getting more involved in the JUG. And I helped to build their website. What
is the topic of your first talk at JUG Dublin?
Java challenges. Java challenges, yes. So yeah, I focused a lot on the Java challenges. So for those who don't know
what is it?
So the Java challenges are basically Java code quizzes where I carefully elaborate them to help Java developers to really master very important Java concepts. So I explore the object-oriented programming concepts such as polymorphism, inheritance, overloading, also important concepts such as what is a reference variable, or what is a variable that you pass by value or by reference, And I also explore threads, concurrency, streams, records, virtual threads. So all of those concepts that are important for the Java language, I elaborate a Java challenge to strategically explore those concepts. And they are tricky. Because then it forces, I wouldn't say forces, but it helps more developers to really understand these concepts.
And you created the entire website by yourself?
Not really. I only the content, the content, yes. But I hired the service of a friend. So it started in a very simple way. I just created a free account on WordPress in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started realizing that, okay, if I have the WordPress app actually installed in a server, that will give me so much more possibilities. And then I hired a friend to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he installs the WordPress application. And now I'm able to do a lot more things. It's very mature. WordPress is just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Does so many things.
But how you got the idea for Java challengers? Or
yeah, so it's a long story, but what was happening was that Yolande, so you probably know her, but for those who don't know Yolande, she was running the Java profile on Twitter.
Yes.
And well, at this time, I started sharing knowledge. So I was sharing knowledge about design patterns and concepts that I like about clean code. And I posted one of those design patterns articles on Twitter. And Yolande very kindly, she did a retweet on my article. And I was extremely grateful because I got so many likes on my article. Like it was almost 500 at the time. 500 was like crazy because I had very, very low engagement on Twitter. Very, very low engagement. And she was kind enough to do that. And then I wanted to, help her because she did that. And at the time, Bruno he is my mentor, and I was curious, I was just confused because I didn't know exactly what to do because I wanted to help Yolande, I wanted to help the Java profile, and then Bruno told me, hey, help her creating content that she needs, and then I said, wow, that's an amazing insight.
Yeah.
That's an amazing insight. And
this is Bruno Souza you're speaking about.
Bruno Souza, yes. Bruno Souza, yes. And then I saw that she created an interesting project called 100 Days of Java. Then I said, oh my God, I will accept this challenge. I will create 100 challenges. I will do that every day. And that's what I did to help her and also to, in a way, to say thank you to her. I started creating daily challenges and it was a big success. I wasn't expecting that. How
successful was it? So what means big success? So
big success, well, in a way that, I was getting visibility.
Okay.
I was getting visibility. It opened doors to me. It opened a lot of doors. It opened doors to give a talk here at JUG. It opened doors to give I gave talk at Dublin and in Belfast here in Ireland. And it opened doors to me to write articles for well-known websites like InfoWorld so they're called as Info. It was JavaWorld at the time, but they changed to InfoWorld.
Oh, JavaWorld changed to InfoWorld, so I didn't know that.
Yes, they changed to InfoWorld. And I had the opportunity to write a book as well.
What is the title of your book?
Java Challengers. It's the same name.
Okay.
So
and we can already order the book, or is it?
Yes, it's available. Yes, definitely.
Okay. And Golden Lessons as well, right?
Yes, in the Golden Lessons book.
Great story, because the Bruno Souza is also completely he likes the Golden Lessons story.
Oh yeah, Does he? I didn't know that.
No, not golden lessons. We had a chat. Is this about the golden
Oh, the golden circle.
circle? I wanted to say golden triangle, but it was the circle.
Golden
And
circle, yeah.
yeah, we had a lot of chat about that. And yeah, there was another theory. So are your golden lessons, related to golden circle, or is just the color?
No, it's just the color. So yeah, so the golden lessons book. Well, it's funny because it also was born from Yuland. So
Yolanda
yes, I
Portier was last name, right? This was the she
Yolande Pourrier. Yolande
Portier, exactly. She ran the Twitter account, and she was very involved in the Java 1 community. She was really involved and really nice, and yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's not running the Java profile anymore. But well, basically what happened was that Yolande told me, she sent a message to me and she said, "Hey, Rafael, I know that you got a job in Europe. Why don't you create an article explaining what you did to get a job in Europe? Because there are so many people who want the same that I think it would be very interesting for you to create an article about that." And then that's what I did. I started creating an article, and there was those lessons.
Okay.
But I was writing the articles, and there was 27 lessons. There was so many lessons, and then I said, okay, like this is almost becoming a book.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense to publish that as an article. And then I started thinking, okay, so why not 100 lessons then? Like I can include 100 lessons that I learned that helped me in my career to get a job in Europe, and I can create a book. And then that's what I did. I wrote 100 lessons that helped me in my career. And the interesting thing is that those lessons are not only for IT, so they're very generic. So those lessons can be applied in any kind of career. So
now the question is to our listeners: what is the most important lesson? If you pick one
wow,
of the book,
I would say take action. Take action, because none of the lessons will change anything in your life if you don't take any action.
Yeah.
So this is one of the the lessons of the book. Take action. Because if you are there only thinking and not taking any action towards your goals, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. Doesn't matter if you have all the knowledge in the world, nothing will happen.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think this is what many developers are doing. They are brilliant, but no one knows about that, right? That's the problem.
Exactly.
And if you have managers, they cannot even estimate, how good you are. If you cannot communicate, you will always lose. This is the problem in IT, I would say. Yeah, absolutely. What are you doing right now? You are still coding Java, or you are just became now the CTO of Vardin combined with Amazon and bookseller. Still coding, or what's the deal right now, Rafael?
Oh, I'm still coding. Yeah, I'm software engineer at MasterCard. Yeah, Java, yes.
MasterCard,
Yeah.
nice. Cool.
Yeah. Working as software engineer at MasterCard, and it's fun. We are working with Spring there. We are doing microservices as well. They're using an interesting tool called PCF, Pivotal Cloud Foundry, and this tool abstracts a lot of the cloud computing, which is interesting. If you want to only focus on the code, this helps you.
This is like the sim generator, right? This is the next version.
It's a bit different because PCF is more focused on infrastructure.
Okay.
So yeah, it's totally focused on infrastructure. So you just deploy your application there.
I was just kidding. Yeah, cool. So you still enjoy Java, basically, right? Which Java version are you using right now?
Oh yeah. Unfortunately we are using Java 11. We should be using Java 17.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, 11, but I spent a lot of time with Java 17, and this is really hard to go back. This is the problem. Because you use, small things with Java 17, and you cannot just, go back because, instead of using collectors to list, you just write to list, for instance. And the small things which are not available in Java 11, that's a problem. Or text blocks, I think is also not available in Java 11.
Text blocks, yes.
Yeah, this is a huge, if you would like to write some JSON or tests or whatever.
Yeah, so it's much better to use text blocks. So much better.
So you're still in Java, and you're still working on Challenger's website?
Yes. Well, nowadays I'm more focused on writing articles about algorithms concepts, but I'm writing those articles with Java. So, I'm writing about data structures, queues, stacks, graphs, the depth search first algorithm, breadth, the other graph algorithm. So all of those things, because
what you're doing, I know what you are doing. You picked, your materials from your study. What you did, the algorithms without programming language, and now you implemented whatever you learned in Java, right? So it's like, okay, well, look what he said. This was the homework assignment, 20 years ago. Now hack it down with Java, right?
I wish I was learning that in college, but I wasn't.
Yeah, you told me that you were learning algorithms without programming language, So you learned the algorithms, and now you just you read, the old stuff and write it with Java, right?
Well, yeah, in a way, yeah.
Nice, cool. And this is your own portal. It's like you are doing this still for fun, or why are you keeping, doing this?
Well, yeah, for fun as well. Funny that we mentioned about the golden circle, because my why behind the scenes is that I want to make people break their limits, because that's what I did. I had to break a lot of limitations that I had. So I had the limitation that I was only technical, and I couldn't do anything else. And it wasn't only my limitation; it was the limitation. Like other people also believed, and they told me, "Hey, Rafael, you're only technical. Like you won't go beyond that." And I had to break my own limitations because I believed that I was purely technical, and purely technical person can't give a talk. Purely technical person can't do other things beyond coding. So it was hard to break this limitation because it was really ingrained in me that I was a purely technical person. And then I learned that, okay, I can break a limitation that I have. I want to make other people break their own limitations, because I was feeling that I was kind of in a cage, because I couldn't go beyond that. The things I wanted in my career and in my life. And so that's my why behind the scenes. I want to make to help people break their limitations. The Java Challenge is a way to break their limitations, to learn more deeply those Java concepts, and help them to get Java certification. And I also write some articles about career. So I tell developers on how important it is to share their knowledge, to start giving talks. I know it's a difficult situation. It's very difficult, very hard to give a talk, but they can start small. So I help developers in their careers as well.
Okay. So it's very similar to Bruno Souza, almost. He also spent lots of time with that.
It's similar, yeah. And I actually started doing mentorship as well. I've been doing that for almost 3 years now.
Cool.
So, and my mentees had really good results. And I'm just teaching them on how to break their limitations, just how I did it with myself.
But the limits are interesting, right? Because I would say the easiest way to overcome limits is just, to observe how something works. And then you say, okay, there are actually no limits, right? So you have to be somehow realistic because there are limits, hard limits, but they are far away usually. So until you reach the real limit, you can achieve a lot, I would say. And this basically there we have to admit, our life has a lifespan. If we shouldn't waste it,
Yes.
and just do whatever possible, and yeah, there are no limits. Actually, you're right. There are never limits because limits is just your imagination, I would say.
It's your imagination. It's yourself, and
Yeah, you are the
facing
limit.
yourself. Facing yourself is the hardest thing ever. You're always your biggest enemy, and I know how hard it is to overcome those challenges, those limitations, because you need someone to show you the path. You need someone that you see and you notice. Okay, this is possible to do. For example, Bruno Souza was the person who showed me that. Okay, this is possible to do. Bruno Souza really, really inspired me in my career. So that was a game changer to me. Like it's amazing. And this is one of the lessons of the book. One of the lessons of the book is to go to conferences, and this made such a big difference to go to conference, because by going there, I saw so many amazing people, and I saw that okay, it's possible to achieve big in your career. Because I see this person talking and he's saying, okay, this is possible. So, Bruno Souza specifically, he inspired me a lot.
But interesting part as well is we had lots of fun at conferences as well. This is not like it sounds like it is a hard achievement to go to a conference. You can go to conference, learn a lot, and have fun. This is what.
Oh yeah.
What's great.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But it was also inspiration to me, because
conferences were a huge inspiration for me as well. I remember the very first Java 1. It was incredible. If I saw this, I say, I would really like to speak one day, right? But I applied for Java 1 talks for 7 years, and then at the end it worked. But it was also mission impossible. But I just kept trying. And so who cares? One time I will speak, And yeah, interesting. Rafael, where people can find you and how they can buy your books, and javachallenges.com without any dashes. This is your website. So it looks really great. I would say the images are great,
Wow.
the articles are great. So I really like it. It looks fresh, and so the articles are ChatGPT, JCP, how to work successfully for a small company, streams win max Java challenge. So really interesting. So this completely fresh look at Java, right? Complete different perspective. So now the home assignment to all listeners of the podcast, they have at least take a look at javachallenges.com and read an article, right? And push themselves.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Push themselves, break their limits.
Break your limits, and it looks
limits,
the design
yes.
is also great. It is how to call it. It is serious but nice. This is how I can tell. So.
Wow, thank you so much. I feel honored by your words. That's amazing. And yes,
also another assignment, they should follow you on Twitter, right? And write you nice things about Java challenges.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Yeah, so you can go to the Java Challengers website, and you're going to find everything there. You're going to find all of my books. You're going to find there is also some free content there as well.
How the people should buy your book? Should they buy it at Amazon? Should buy it from the website? What is the best possible way to support you?
On Amazon. On Amazon for the golden lessons.
Yeah, because you've wrote the book anyway, Amazon anyway, right? So because you've wrote Amazon,
yes,
this project.
I wrote,
now
I wrote the whole system.
Yeah, exactly. With the generator, this was the golden push button, right? No, this was the the golden action, was it, right?
Yeah. So cool. Yeah, there is all the links. You can just go to javachallengers.com, and there are all the links there for the golden lessons, the Java Challengers book. There are a lot of content there about career, and there are more than 100 Java challenges on the Java Challengers website. So there's a lot of content about Java, about career, and yeah, pretty much about that.
So thank you a lot. It was fun to talk with you. Really, it was a nice journey.
Thank you so much, Adam. Well, I'm so honored to be here, and yeah, amazing. Really happy to be here.